Good evening, my old friend. Thank you so much for having me this evening. It's been a long time, has it not? I'd love to tell you everything, but I have to tell you what's just happened. Most of all, what's happened in Babylon. I think I just saw God. This whole thing, it has me shaken. I mean, it was just a week ago I was home, a typical day on the outskirts of Babylon serving as a civil servant. I've spent years now just building my life and livelihood here in Babylon. I've lived in Babylon, and I've let Babylon live in me. I mean, how could it go any other way? Do you remember that day when we were taken as captives from Jerusalem? Do you remember? I do, just looking over my shoulder and seeing the devastation behind us. And do you remember we saw our city and our God fall to Babylon? I mean, the banner of Marduk was hung in our temple. And I thought to myself, who is Yahweh if he can't defend himself? Right? Like if on home turf he can't even keep us safe. I mean, how was he going to help me where I was going? I knew I'd have to survive on my own. I knew that Yahweh was dead, or at least dead to me. And I didn't know what was ahead. It was so bad not knowing, expecting the worst, but then King Nebi, I mean, we don't say that in front of him, but King Nebi, he took us in so generously. I mean, this unexpected hospitality. He clothed us, he fed us, he educated and invested in us. He demanded everything. I mean, but he gave us everything back in return. A new home, a new name, a new identity. I mean, honestly, it seemed like we had a good life out in front of us. I mean, certainly others didn't fare so well, but we had to look out for ourselves now. And I mean, it all happened so quickly. I mean, I had no choice. Babylon offered everything. I mean, to cling to Jerusalem was the wrong side of history. I mean, those values and those truths, they were for a different era. And Babylon, it welcomed us. I mean, besides, we saw him fall, right? I mean, we had to do whatever it took to survive on our own. So yeah, I became Babylon. I mean, honestly, my friends and coworkers, they probably don't even know that I'm a Hebrew. I've eaten the bread of Babylon. I've taken it all in. I mean, the fashion, the food, the entertainment, the women. I mean, I resolved to fit in. I mean, we're here. We might as well enjoy it, right? I mean, consider the alternative. So I took the new name, and I gave up my old one. I mean, what else would you expect a guy to do? I mean, yeah, their gods are on my mantle, but I serve Marduk, not Molech, okay? Like, I don't do that stuff. Babylon had offered me everything. Honestly, I guess I started to enjoy it. And the luxury of it all, I guess it numbed the pain. I don't know anymore. It's not what it used to be. And now, like, after what I just saw, like, I think I saw God. I thought he was dead. I mean, what do I do? The alternative here, it's always been do or die. And I thought Yahweh was dead. I mean, no use dying with him. So I ate the bread that Babylon gave me. But then just a week ago, I was at the office, right, just pushing papyrus, and that's when someone came in and I heard my name called. It's the same Babylonian name on the desk there. It was a messenger with a sealed letter from Nebuchadnezzar himself, summoning me to the plains of Dura, just outside of Babylon. The whole thing, it looked so important. I mean, this is my chance, right? Like, finally going to get some kudos for all my hard work. I didn't really know what awaited me. I was curious. I mean, wouldn't you have been intrigued? But I was also afraid. I mean, I hoped that if I served well, I'd be fed, right? I mean, it was always do or die, so I always did. I gathered my things and I left immediately. And upon traveling, it was just a day or so in, and it seemed like anybody who was anybody was traveling to Babylon. I saw satraps and governors, other magistrates like myself and officials, and at first I just noticed a few of them. I mean, from their colorful clothes. And the closer I got, though, then the more of them I began to see. The more of them were there. A few in lower rank than I, but most far higher. And it seemed like the whole of Babylon's powers that be were invited. I mean, men of power and ambition all converging. I mean, whole parades of these government and military officials from every class, every corner of the empire, all converging together. I mean, it was a security nightmare, right? They were all traveling to the proverbial top of the mountain. And in typical celebrity style, I mean, you know how it goes. Everyone had their nose in the air. They're all vying to be on top, to prove the importance of their many tassels. You know, they all wore robes, but not chains. Yeah, clearly, I mean, we were all prisoners of one sort. We all went without a choice. And in those crowds, I mean, you know how it is. Everyone's jockeying to position themselves and elevate themselves above the next, trying to climb higher or impress the right people, aligning themselves with the powers that be. I mean, that's how you do survival. It's dog eat dog in Babylon. You know, there's always someone higher, though, ready to humble you. I mean, always someone up there trying to hold you down. And I was just trying to fit in. You know, you get around powerful people and it's just something in you that wants to impress them, to align yourself with them. And I guess that usually means you go along with whatever they say. So I'm the kind of guy, I just put my head down and I go with the flow. Conformity, it's just always been the name of the game for survival, no matter the cost. But the cost, what I was walking into, it wasn't anymore just like a demand for my employment, but for worship. I mean, the stakes were getting higher and they were turning up the heat on the cost of refusal. So I reminded myself, right, just fit in, assimilate, survive, just love their truth, don't judge. Like no one would want to find out what would happen to you if you didn't. So I'd obey. I'd eat the bread of Babylon, whatever it fed me. And I kept climbing. And then as we were closing in, I rounded a bend and I crested a hill and, and then I saw it. The image. I mean, it rose from the ground like a mountain of gold just shimmering in the sunlight over the plains of Dura. It was impossibly tall. I mean, it stretched so high, like 10 times taller than it was wide. It was robust and ornate, this pillar of glimmering gold just reaching into the heavens. And it towered above everything. I mean, above the crowds and the officials, like into the sky itself. It was this declaration of power, just so immense. It just took my breath away. And I wasn't alone. I mean, I looked around and everybody felt small. There was this sense of wonder, but also of dread. Like, what were we walking into? And then as we drew closer and I could see the sea of officials gathered around its base, just everybody wondering what exactly we'd been summoned to. And seeing the image, it was clear this was not about us. And I thought to myself, I wonder how Nebi dreamed this up. Right? Subtlety apparently is not his strong suit. And then as I drew closer, that's when I heard it. Music. I mean, at first it was just soft notes carried on the wind, but they were growing. Louder and richer and more overwhelming as we approached. And we got there. Old Nebi had it all. I mean, the horn, the pipe, the lyre, the trigonist, I think they call them. I mean, really, they're just harpists, but nobody would admit it. But harpists, they had those too. bagpipes, and every kind of music, every instrument played by the finest virtuosos, that Nebi could muster from around the whole empire. It was beautiful. It was masterful, just this sonic assault orchestrated to sway our affections. Well then, the music stopped. In the silence, it choked us. The whole assembly, thousands of people were suddenly hanging on whatever would come next. And that's when he stood up, the herald. And if you'd have heard it, that guy's got pipes. His voice just rang out. He said, "You are commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, bagpipe, and every kind of music, you are to fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar has set up." And that's when I figured it out. We weren't here to dedicate ourselves. We were here to dedicate ourselves, not dedicate the image. This was like some kind of quasi-Babylon's newest religion initiation. And this whole thing was fabricated like a roundup to get us together so that we all knew who was on the top of the mountain. Who is the real BMOC, right? The big man on campus. But Harold, he didn't stop there. In typical Babylonian fashion, that was the do, and then came the or die. He said, "Whoever does not fall down and worship shall immediately be cast into the burning fiery furnace." I could already smell the smoke. There it was. The real motivation. It looked like the oven where they cooked this whole thing up. The irony was that while nobody was talking, failure to worship had just become a hot topic. The choice was clear. It was do or die. It was bow or burn. There was no third option. This is just like Babylon. They entice you with the carrots, but fear is really the ultimate motivator. And so, I looked around at the sea of officials around me, everyone waiting, frozen, for that first note to drop. Everything was leading up to this moment of decision. Submit, worship, bow to the power and the majesty of Babylon. All wrapped up in the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. I thought, this is it. This is the only way forward. And then the note dropped and the music began. It was this overture to match the grandeur of the image. And every official around me, every nose that had been in the air fell to the ground. And of course, I went with the flow. Consider the alternative. I bowed. I have been bowing, for years now. I've just given in, just eating the bread that Babylon fed me, down to the dirt. Hoping that it would nourish me, hoping that it would give me life. But how did it come so far? It all started around the king's table, eating the king's meat and drinking the king's wine, and now this is where I was. But everybody was doing it. So I bowed. But then everybody wasn't. You see, as I was bowing, something caught my eye. In the corner of my vision, I saw them. There were 3 men. At first, they kind of looked like everybody else, but then I saw through them like I knew these men. They were also Hebrews. These were the guys that made it to the top of the class. They served in the highest court. They served before King Nebuchadnezzar himself. And Babylon had obviously done everything it could to remake them. They wore the same clothes. They spoke the mother tongue. They lived off the royal payroll. Certainly they'd been given new names. But there was just something about them. Something about them that, Babylon hadn't changed. Something that I'd lost long ago. It was something unconformed. But as everybody else around them knelt, as the music swelled and survival demanded compliance, as fear masqueraded as worship over the crowd, these three men, they just stood. And they stood together. I didn't understand it. There wasn't like a smug look on their face. They weren't like poo-pooing the other people around them. They just stood. Their noses, they weren't in the air, but they weren't on the ground either. They just simply stood. And they stood together. I couldn't understand it. What would possess these men, when everybody else fell, to stand? What would make someone choose certain death over mere compliance? Thought to myself, at least lean down and tie your sandal or something, right? I didn't know. I couldn't explain it. I couldn't look away. And then the music faded and everyone started to rise, and that's when I saw them. The local Chaldeans, they had seen the Hebrews too. But on these guys, the look on their face, it wasn't the curiosity that I felt. It was something more primitive. It was more malicious and hateful. Apparently what they saw was an opportunity. And so they began to rise quickly, and they moved swiftly through the crowd and towards the king. And they approached him. I could hear their voices. They were smooth but calloused over. And typical, they began with their platitudes appealing to Nevi's own vanity. "O king, live forever," they said, And then they went on, they said, "You, O king, have made a decree." They wanted to remind him, right? "That every man who hears the sound of the band shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast into a burning, fiery furnace." They paused, just to let the accusation hang in the air. And they said, "There are certain men who have not obeyed, certain Jews whom you appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon." And then I understood. These guys, they all served in the same office. They all served before King Nebuchadnezzar, but these local Chaldeans, they were natives, native blood. They'd grown up swearing their allegiance to the empire, but now these captive Hebrews had been promoted above them by Nebuchadnezzar. The natives were outranked by the immigrants. You know how it feels. You can imagine the jealousy. But now the Chaldeans thought they had them in their jaws. At the accusation, the image of Nebuchadnezzar's own face began to change, and I understood why. Look at this predicament. The Jews, they were high profile. They weren't guys like me they could kind of dismiss off quietly. No, these were men on his own bench, his own inner circle, whom he himself had elevated. And they were men who were now defying him at his own party in front of all of his friends. The entire empire was now watching Nebi's response. And so we all held our breath. We knew he had to be ruthless. And despite the fury, he controlled himself. He commanded that they be brought to him, not straight into the fire. And his voice, it was controlled, but I could hear the rage underneath. He asked, "Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the golden image that I have set up?" And without giving him a chance to confess, he went on. He said, "Now, if you are ready, when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, bagpipe, and every kind of music, to fall down and worship the image that I have made, well and good." He paused, and I realized something that everyone else realized. Nebuchadnezzar, all of us, we believed that they would bow. They're being given a second chance. It's an offer of mercy. One more chance just to acknowledge Nebuchadnezzar and his obvious supremacy, to save their own hides. No rational man would refuse this. In typical Babylonian fashion, I mean, that was the do, but then came the or die. He went on. But if you do not worship, you shall immediately be cast into a burning fiery furnace. And who is the God who will deliver you out of my hands? It was a rhetorical question. I mean, because everybody's mind, we all knew the answer. There was no answer. I mean, no one could deliver them from Nebuchadnezzar. I mean, he had just challenged the entire celestial divine pantheon. I mean, but no one could stand against him. And now for these guys, it was their moment of decision. I mean, come on, there was only one way forward. Bow. But they didn't budge. They just stood. They stood together. And this image came to my mind. I mean, maybe you've seen it. Like when a calf gets separated from the herd, it becomes the vulnerable prey. I thought about it because guys like on their own, like me maybe, I mean, who get separated, or I guess maybe we separate ourselves from the herd, they become the easy targets. Well, what amazed me is when these guys started to speak, I couldn't tell which one of them was talking. It was like when they spoke together. And when they stood, they stood together. I mean, maybe they stood in part because they stood together. So when they started to talk, it seemed like one voice in which they answered the king. They said, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If this be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us." I tuned out just for a minute. Like, are you serious? Able to deliver you? This is the same. Did they not look over their shoulder? Yahweh was dead. He was defeated. This was the God of the Jews. He had no jurisdiction here in the private court of Nebuchadnezzar. He could defend himself like in his own temple. He couldn't help us then. This God had no power here. He couldn't even perform with home field advantage. But then I listened in again. They went on, "But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up." This was crazy. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like their trust in their God wasn't a transaction. It wasn't like, "Hey, if you save us, then we'll worship you." It was this dogmatic, just committed loyalty regardless of the consequences. I mean, fire or not, these guys weren't going to bow. They were only going to serve their own defeated God. I mean, everyone else bowed before the image. They were motivated by what would happen if they didn't. But for these guys, it wasn't fear. They weren't afraid of what would happen. It was like they just loved their God. And I stood there and I was watching their faces now before the king, and they weren't actually saying it, but it looked like their faces were singing. And it was this song I knew from my own childhood. It said, "Yahweh is my light and my salvation. Why should I ever be afraid? Yahweh is the stronghold of my life. Of whom should I be afraid? He will hide me in his shelter in the day of trouble. He will conceal me under the cover of his tent." Their faith was powerful. Like I wanted it to be true. I wanted them to live. I mean, I wanted a God who could save. But from my experience, he couldn't. I mean, these guys were going to burn just like home. The king's face, it said it all. I mean, Nebuchadnezzar's face, it became twisted and uncontrolled. I mean, Nebuchadnezzar was ticked. I mean, nobody spoke to Nebi like that. Nobody refused him. Nobody questioned his command or his supremacy and lived long to tell about it. So he turned to his guards. His voice was absolute and cold. He said, "Heat the furnace 7 times. Bind them and throw them in." These soldiers, I mean, they were huge. They were like the mighty men we'd heard of. I mean, clearly they had killed a lot of people. And in the furnace, it was heated to the max, and there was no time for ceremony. They tied up the Babylonians in their dress code. And I mean, these guys, they looked like Babylon, but clearly they were not. And the heat, it was so intense. I mean, the inferno was just overwhelming. I mean, this was the first time I'd seen Nebi break a sweat. And the flames, they were billowing, not just the smoke. The furnace itself looked like it was going to consume itself and melt. I mean, surely nobody could survive this. No God could save them now. And the soldiers, they bound them up and they picked them up and they carried them forward and they threw them in. And the heat, it was so severe, so intense that the soldiers themselves fell dead. They burned to death. I mean, the soldiers, get this, who obeyed Nebuchadnezzar, died for their obedience. I mean, why didn't their God save them? And we saw them fall. The soldiers fell before the flames, and the 3 Jews fell into the fire, and that was it. I mean, these were now the 3 hottest men in Babylon. But then the king, he leaned forward and he stood up and he walked cautiously with his eyes fixed ahead. And without turning, he asked a dumb question. He said, "Did we not throw 3 men bound into the fire?" His ever so wise officials, they counted on their fingers. 3 men, yes, bound, thrown in. Yes, sir. Yet I see 4. Unbound, walking. They're not hurt. I mean, immediately curiosity got the best of all, and all eyes were off Nebi and towards the flames. And then Nebi, he began to stammer in his next words. His voice began to shake. He said, the 4th, it looks like a son of the gods. And there, like in the midst of the inferno, I saw them. I mean, we all saw them, the 3 Hebrews walking, and I saw him. Someone else, like who didn't belong to this world, was walking with them. I mean, I don't know if I said it out loud or not, but I thought, is God not dead? But I saw Jerusalem fall. I saw Yahweh fall. Besides, this is Marduk's land. I mean, even if he wasn't dead, how could he have any power or presence here? Besides, like, what kind of God would enter into the fire? But there he was. I mean, he clearly did. Nebi himself couldn't even deny it. His next words were in a much different tone. He called them out. I mean, not all 4, mind you, just the 3, right? Let's keep the other one away. And the craziest thing happened, and the 3 Jews, they just walked out. Everybody, they gathered up around them, and we all noticed like their eyebrows were still fantastic, right? Like the fire had no power over them. They weren't even singed. Their clothes were unharmed. The Chaldeans came up, they were like sniffing around them like a bunch of hound dogs. Like they didn't even smell like smoke. They were just completely delivered. Nebi, like he let his own soldiers die, but Yahweh rescued these 3 faithful Jews. I mean, the fire destroyed their captors. It burned off their ropes and it drew them closer to their God. I mean, the furnace, it became the thing that was supposed to destroy them, but now it set them free. The furnace that was meant to be their death was now the place where they got to walk the closest with their God. I mean, if Babylon, it couldn't stop these faithful ones who loved their God more than their own life, and they stood together. Now, because of them, like the entire empire got to see the presence and the power of God to save. I mean, if that God is not dead or even defeated, I mean, if that God is alive and working outside the boundaries of Israel, is he really able to save his faithful people, even in Babylon? If so, can we stand too? Like, can we stand together? I have wasted so much of my time being faithless. Can I be faithful now? I mean, this whole time I've just eaten the bread of Babylon, and it has not filled me. Is there a bread that can?
Well, we know the truth, friends, that there is a bread, the bread of life, that can fulfill, that can satisfy. So we're going to take some time now to take communion together, to remember that bread, to remember Jesus' sacrifice. So let's do that now together.